Greetings, Tonal. How are you? My name is Adrian Fleischer, and I'm applying for a role with your company. In actuality, I've already applied for one. I have to be very honest with you. I went in and I was referred to your organization. I'm familiar with Tonal. I'm familiar with the product, but I was referred through LinkedIn to the health and strength writer position, of which I applied for, just did a quick online application. But as I went through and reviewed some of the other available positions, what caught my eye was the manager for performance journey. And it caught my eye because really, when you look at the title of the role itself, it does a good job encapsulating what wellness is. It is, in fact, a journey. It's a process. It's not the destination. And I think this does a really good job of even just telegraphing to me what your company is about. That you get that with wellness. Wellness is an all-encompassing, holistic mindset that is about the process. So I really like this, and it caught my eye. And when I opened it, I was pleasantly surprised by what I saw were the requirements for the role. And I think we'll find that there's a number of different things that I can bring to the table that will fulfill many of those requirements. So first of all, this is not going to be exhaustive. I'm just looking to do a general overview. You'll pick up like some of the grittiness and determination I've had to have in my career. Also talking about some of the progressive experience and how I've gone into positions and I've been quickly promoted into other positions just based off of opportunity, meeting, hard work, and just dedication to the process. And I hope from this you're also able to glean that I like to leverage technology. So when you look at my basic overview, on the left-hand side, you can see I have a educational experience that includes a bachelor's of science education. It's actually physical education and a minor in coaching. So when we talk about some of the behavioral components that are listed in the post for this role, I definitely have a strong experience in that, whether it's coaching 100 athletes on a field and having to have one set of skills to be able to reach all those individuals, training a group of clients, maybe 6 or 7 people on one, or even in that one-on-one environment to nudge people along. I definitely understand the nuances involved with all those and actually how they all kind of dovetail together nicely. And they don't operate independent of each other, but how they all work together to create the environment where you're able to actually leverage people and leverage their behavior in a positive mindset. Beyond that, I have a master's in exercise science and a master's in business administration. For experiences, I often describe my background as kind of a bifurcated, if I can use an anatomical term, where I have a wide set of experiences that are on the employment side of wellness and health as a wellness practitioner. And then on the other side, progressive management, as well as experiences in different industries. So I hope you get from this is it's not as though it's one dimensional and I have things I can draw from different areas. And believe me, I've been so fortunate to have people take me under their wing and show me their business and show me how things operate and be able to teach me skills that I wouldn't have never had that opportunity. I never would have had that opportunity before. And it's only just because my proximity to people who are frankly much smarter than me and were very successful in their businesses. And I was able to glean just little bits of information from them. So to that end, if you look at the employment experience in fitness, as a student assistant in undergrad, I was the head student assistant for 3 years and I did programming for all the non-revenue sports at our school. And one of the listings that you have for the role is a strong background in periodization and program design, and that's absolutely something I have. So as a student assistant, we started a program for all the people who are interested in strength conditioning as a career, and it was with the help of the National Strength Conditioning Association. Actually, it was the second one in the country at the time. I think Penn State was the first one. And then when you get into strength conditioning coordinator at an FCS school, not FBS, or if you know the difference between those two, with the FCS school, I was the head strength conditioning coach, and I oversaw programming for 15 different sports, from softball to basketball to baseball to football. And so I had to design and implement programming for all the athletes. About 350 athletes, 15 different sports, maybe 35 to 40 different coaches when it was all said and done. A lot of integration, a lot of collaboration, a lot of working with the coaches to make things happen. And you have to realize that with programming like that, you have preseason, in-season, off-season, and active conditioning mesocycles for each one of those phases of training. And I developed a quadrennial programming mindset for those athletes and developed programming for different levels of athletes who might have had different chronological age or training age than their peers. And we could talk more about that later on, but I definitely have a good lock on the periodization side of training. From a personal trainer standpoint, I was a big box trainer for a number of years. I took what I learned in college and I went into a big box fitness facility when I was early in my career. Numerous times I outperformed my peers throughout my career, and it was just a direct result of I had the fortunate situation where I was the guy that people went to for speed, agility, and quickness and performance training for their kids. So I had a constant stream of athletes to train as I was working in that facility. Of course, I've had my experiences in home situations where I'm working with clients in their basement as well as studio settings. Also, I worked with a medical practitioner group where it was a team of doctors and medical practitioners who worked with individuals who had psychological and emotional issues, and those issues would then manifest into eating disorders, whether it was exercise purging, bulimia, anorexia, or perhaps there was somebody who was a very high BMI, it was a 500-pound body person in front of me. And it really gave me insight regarding some of the struggles that people have, and you never would ever realize it in your day-to-day activities, that this person next to you on the elevator, quite frankly, is terrified of getting on the elevator with you because they are such a big body and they have this fear that you'll have such a bias against them. And it was really insightful. And while it was completely opposite spectrum of what I did as a strength and conditioning coach, it was very insightful to see the other side of that spectrum and see what people deal with day to day. I've been a fitness manager for a big box fitness facility. I've also been a general manager for a fitness startup and a general manager of another facility. Right now, I currently am an adjunct professor at a local community college where I teach kinesiology courses, 100 and 200 level courses. And then also I teach FYS, which is a first year seminar for students in the STEM component of the college, so science, technology, engineering, and math students. And I work with these individuals to basically give them a survival plan on how to get through our 2-year school and then matriculate to a 4-year school or matriculate on and go to a trade school, some variety, to get on with their career. And then beyond that, I've also had the pleasure of being a director of conditioning for our area high school wrestling program. So I'm the kind of guy that can handle different things, many different things at one time. And just my goal is to be able to train my focus and put them all into one area. God, I'd love to do that. So we look at the other side of the bifurcation here. One side is fitness. The other side is more like a finance side. I was very fortunate to have somebody take me under their wing, and they taught me the business of trading and investing in a nitty-gritty environment. And I really learned the nuances in a way that most people just didn't have the benefit of learning. So at one point, on the bottom there, I was vice president of operations of what's called a CTA, commodity trading advisor. We managed money for clients, specifically in the currency world, where we bought and sold yen, euro, franc, pound, and the American dollar against each other. We did arbitrage pricing techniques and arbitrage techniques to be able to capitalize our gains and mitigate our risk. And in my role there, I recruited people in, placed them for the process to become a fund manager, and we were very hands-on, where we would actually trade in the room together, and we would work together and have our concept of what I call the 3 C's, the concept of what we have going on in the environment, have conviction to place a trade, and have a contingency to get out in case things go sideways. From there, we created this incubator where we were able to realize that we had these data points in the room itself with our traders who were creating real-time buy and sell signals. And so I negotiated and drafted the contract to work with a company in Japan that we just had networked with and we were able to communicate with, and created an agreement with them to provide trade signals to their traders in Japan. They had on the order, I think, of like 5,000 traders. So we were able to real time through coding with one of our programmers, create a little window, much like you see me in the corner, where instead of me in the corner, it was Adrian buys 1 million euro US. It would pop up on the person's screen and they can execute a trade, or just have it be non-discretionary, whereas discretionary, whereas automatic. It was a pretty cool little setup. It was a great way to leverage some technology. And then when I ended up opening my own commodity trading advisor, I had to do things like I raised my own capital. I met all the regulatory requirements, which are pretty stringent through the NFA, managed client monies. I had my own marketing campaign where it's kind of a fun one we could talk about, but I organically raised my SEO up to the point where if you typed in commodity trading advisor or currencies or a combination thereof, I organically would show up number 1 or 2 on the right-hand side of a Google search. So it was kind of fun to do that. And then beyond that, I was director of admissions of a private university here. I did some Did some work as an adjunct professor, and they promoted me within several months to a director of admissions role, which was great. Not good, again, not my sweet spot. And I'm currently a department manager of a retail store where we do, in our little department, we're about 18,000 square feet. It's called wall coverings, but we're about 18,000 square feet. We have about 6,000 SKUs, and we do roughly about $8 million of business a year, give or take. So it's a pretty sizable amount. And it's busy. It's not my sweet spot. I'm learning a lot about retail management and what goes on in a big box store, but it definitely has its challenges, and it's just not in my passion place. But you know what? There are skills to be gleaned from anything. So if you look at this, just some real simple things I just want to point out. Like I talked a little bit about like coaching. So you have this team and collaborative mindset. I definitely had that from coaching. As I mentioned earlier, think of all the sports and the coaches that I had to work with. You know, they're like the user experience side of that business, and the athletes are the consumer side of that experience. So I definitely have that mindset to be able to collaborate with these individuals to drive the best user experience down to the athletes. And it's the same thing with my personal training clients, and it's the same thing with the consumers that come into our wall coverings department where I'm managing now. For presentation skills, I do it all the time as a teacher and as a coach, whether it's one-on-one, 10-on-1, I'm fine there. I've done presentations where I've had like 100 people in a room. It doesn't faze me to get in front of a room of people and do a presentation, you know, and be able to capture the room. I'm kind of cool with that. I've been a guest panelist for the Arditi Risk Management uh, department. It's over at DePaul University, and it was through the National Introducing Brokers Association, where I was a guest panelist regarding risk management in the currency industry. And then beyond that, I was also a regional presenter for a big box fitness facility, and I'm quite comfortable working with people one-on-one as well. So from a leadership standpoint, you know, I was voted to the president of the organization that I mentioned in undergrad. I've been a fitness manager at a number of different places and manager in different roles, general manager of fitness startup, vice president of operations, everything I just went over. Just some quirky other stuff. I'm president of my homeowners association, if that matters to you or not. And I've also been on the ad hoc marketing group for the village of Kildare, which is the township where I reside. We were looking at how we can actually best leverage what Kildare is to drive more people into our area, into the shopping district. And as I mentioned, I was offered a management role at my current job. So from a presentation stance, the ability to get in front of people, I've done so for the entirety of my career, whether it was coaching 100 athletes or a presenter at a sales conference where I've had, you know, 55 to 60 brand new hires, and I'm teaching them how to become a personal trainer. Teaching class, 20 people in a classroom, PowerPoint slides, not a problem. So I'm fine there. And beyond that, if you kind of look at what I am, I'm a guy who definitely needs a creative outlet. You know, I can't just sit there and stamp somebody else's paperwork and staple papers. It just doesn't work for me. So I have to have some kind of creative outlet and a way to work with people to have this kind of like nexus, if you will, this nebulous way to take a nebulous idea to bring focus to it and drive it into a finished project. I definitely need interaction with people. I've seen that working in my basement down here as an instructor where I need to have some kind of social contact. I mean, that really helps. I'm definitely a servant leader, more about mentoring and coaching as opposed to being a manager, if you will. I'd much rather be a leader. I'm also comfortable in the expert role. And I think some people have difficulty with this, kind of like owning that, but I have no trouble owning fitness. I've been so passionate about it for the entirety of my career. And it's still something I've kept with me for the entirety of my career. I utilize whole part whole a lot, and I utilize that from my Olympic weightlifting. And you look at like training in general, it's like the whole part whole where you take the whole thing and chop it up in little parts to master each one and you smush them back together. So I'm good with that, and that's something I've learned over my time. So beyond that, I also have several certifications within the fitness industry, from Pilates certifications to National Strength Conditioning Association to United States Weightlifting Federation. As a matter of fact, I'm also on the investment committee for the National Strength Conditioning Association. But my time is running out. Please take the time to review my resume. I hope you enjoy that and the cover letter. I promised I wouldn't go over 15 minutes, and I'm at 14:30 right now. So I'm going to go ahead and break this here. And to that end, if you have any questions, please reach out to me via the information in my application. All right, have a great one, and thank you so much for taking the time to listen. Bye.